So we are going to show you that when you sin against God, here's what God does in retaliation. Because that's your son, right?
When you make a promise and you don't follow it.
Watch this. He's our father, right?
Yep.
Check this out.
Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 25. Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you.
From what?
From you.
God says when you sin against me, you withhold good things from yourself. So if it's you wanted a job, guess what? If you smoking, God's gonna say, nah, whatever job you go to, I'm gonna make sure they give you a drug test.
Right.
I'm gonna make sure they do that just so you get jacked up.
Right.
Because you sinning against me. Think about it. What? Hey, if your son wasn't listening to you, would you bless him? Would you give him a gift? No. What you gonna do? You gonna punish him because he's doing something that is against your command. So when you go against God's commandments, nothing will ever work out for you. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and read verse 20. I'm gonna show you how serious God says your iniquities will go good things from you. We would look. The Spanish went into slavery because they sinned against God. Before the conquistadors came here, y'all had riches, right? Y'all had riches, y'all had land. Okay, what do y'all have today from those riches and land that you had way back then? Nothing. You know why? Because y'all started to worship other gods. Y'all made sun gods. Y'all made all this. Y'all made all these different idols to worship, and because you did that, God said, "All right, I got something for you. I'm gonna send a nation against you that will conquer you." And now, when you get to America, because that's what people do, they want to come to America for a better life, right? When you get to America, here's what God says is going to happen to you.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, in all that thou settest thy hand unto for to do.
God says, whatever you put your hand to, I'm going to curse it. Whatever you're trying to work towards, I'm going to be against you. All because you're not doing what I told you to do. Like, for instance, you still smoke? Okay. Hey, let me ask you, what was it that got you in trouble? Why'd you go to jail?
Weed. No. Weed.
Just weed. So you got caught smoking on the job when you was supposed to?
No.
So what made you go to jail?
I got caught smoking at a party. They searched my car and went to jail.
Okay. So let me ask you this. If weed is what got you in trouble and in jail, do you think that you should still be smoking weed?
Bring it out.
No. Because guess what? God says that's why I jacked you up in the first place. If you keep on doing it, I'm going to keep on jacking you up. Hey, let me ask you something, sis. Do you think it's alright to smoke weed? No. Do you smoke? Okay. What about you? You smoke? Okay, good. But we're going to touch on all aspects. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. Because remember, when you sin against God, things not going to work out for you in life. God's going to be against you. But it's not just smoking that will make God work against you. There's more to that. Watch this.
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God?
The Israelites, which are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are God's temple. God dwells with us. We're His chosen people, His chosen vessels. Read.
And that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy.
Now God says when you defile your temple, I'm going to destroy you. What's one way you defile your temple? What's one thing you're doing that's defiling your temple?
Sometimes like, you don't pray, you don't look for God, you don't read the Bible, you don't look for God, you don't pray.
Smoking. When you smoke, when people take their
Smoking too, but I'm talking about when you don't look for God too, that's another thing. When you don't look for Him, you don't pray Him, you don't praise Him.
Okay, but remember, he's saying if you defile your temple, he's talking about your body. So getting tattoos, right? That means you getting tattoos, that's defiling your body. You get smoking, defiling your body. Sis, let me ask you a question. His father in his life? Are y'all married? Okay, that's good. Now, wait, do y'all eat pork?
What do you say?
Pork. Teach our own.
Yeah, I eat pork, yeah.
Did y'all see kitty pork?
I know that.
You know that you're not supposed to. So when you choose to eat pork, guess what God says you just did? Defiled the temple. So guess what? Oh, here's another one. Women wearing pants. That defiles the temple. When you do that stuff, God says he'll do what?
Him shall God destroy.
Let's see how God will destroy you. Deuteronomy chapter 28. No, Micah 6:13. Micah chapter 6, verse 13. Hey, bro, you speak English? No. No? Spanish? Okay. So I'm gonna deal with y'all since y'all speak English. So
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm gonna have to.
you got a bounce soon? Alright. Now
I've been
listen.
here for a minute. I gotta go.
I got you. So listen. You have to keep y'all
What's the address?
In fact, you got a flyer?
Oh, yeah.
There's a number on the back of the flyer. Hit us up. You can get the address that way. Alright? Hey, before you go, subscribe.
Instagram.
Alright, so check this out. This will be for you. Watch this.
Micah chapter 6, verse 13. Therefore, also will I make thee sick.
Make you what?
Sick.
What?
Sick.
What did God say he'll do to us? What did he say? He'll make us what? Read it again.
Verse 13. Therefore, also will I make thee sick.
What did he say he'll do to you, Deborah? He'll make you sick. Why would he make you sick?
And smiting thee, and making thee desolate because of thy sin.
Because you sinned against me, I'm going to make you sick. That's why when you eat pork, that's what you can get. Diabetes, you can get gout, you get high blood pressure, all these, cancer. You can get all these sicknesses from eating pork. That's what God says. When you sin against me, I'm going to jack you up. Just like how I whoop your son. If he's doing bad, y'all going to whoop him. Y'all going to punish him. God's punishing us because we sin against him. Now, here's one thing about it. That's your son, right? He's right now, he's just like Mario. Would you let your son dress up like Princess Peach? Why not?
That's not right.
Okay, that's not right. Okay, watch this. Now, 1 Timothy 2:9. God said earlier, when we dress a certain way, how we take care of our bodies, that is something that God looks at. When you do against what he commands you to do, judgment comes. Now, that's your only child? Okay, watch this.
1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 9. In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
God says that women are to adorn themselves in modest apparel. Now, Deborah, do you know what the word modest means? What does modest mean?
Hey, what the fuck on TV? No, not TV, not TV. Hey, what? Hey, hold on. Hey,
Hey, you on TV? What does modest mean? Okay, I'm gonna help you out. Hey, sit. It's gonna be real quick. No, that's for security. That's not TV. That's for security. Now, let me ask you a question. So what we're talking about is, read it again.
1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 9. In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
Now, sis, what's your name? Kiara? Kenyara. Alright, so Kenyara, what does modest mean?
Modest is something like...
It says modest, women should wear modest apparel. So what's modest? A dress. The definition of modest is we're talking about dress code right now. In fact, definition. Let's read the definition.
We got a brother over here.
Everyone knows. What we're going over right now is how women should dress. Like for instance, and all these women right here, are they dressed correctly according to God?
Bring it out.
No. Okay. Let's see. Modest.
This is the definition of modest. Number 3, dressing or behaving so as to avoid impropriety or indecency, especially to avoid attracting sexual attention.
Could you read that example it gives right there of clothing?
Of clothing, not revealing or emphasizing the figure.
It says modest apparel does not emphasize or reveal your figure. So when you wear leggings, that reveals your shape and your figure. When you wear form-fitting clothes, that reveals your shape. It's not modest. But God says women should do what?
Adorn themselves in modest apparel.
God says he wants his daughters to wear modest apparel. Because what happens when you try to dress sexy? What happens? Men try to have sex with you.
No, don't say they try to have sex with you because they just look at
Wait, sis. You've never been catcalled before.
I could what?
You've never been catcalled before.
What you mean catcall?
When someone sees you, hey, what's good? What's going on, mom? What's good?
Yeah,
Hey, let me get your But think about it. That's what happens. That's what happens. When you dress sexy, that's what they do. What? Now, wait, hold on.
I need to go with
Hold on, let me ask you this. Are you married?
I'm not.
You're not. Okay. Do you have kids?
I got 4.
You have 4. Now think about it. What made those men want to deal with you?
Show they from the way I dress. Because I'm thuggish.
Hold on. The book of Sirach, chapter 19, verse 29. Hey, you ever heard the saying, you can't judge a book by its cover?
Right.
Who agrees with that? Raise your hand. You can't judge a book by its cover. Y'all agree with that, right? Okay. You agree with that? Watch this.
Sirach chapter 19, verse 29.
Bring it out.
A man may be known by his look.
What does that mean? What's your name, bro? Lorenzo. What does that mean, Lorenzo? A man may be known by his look. When you carry yourself. That means that first impressions do matter, right?
And one that hath understanding by his countenance. When thou meetest him. A man's attire.
Attire. Hey, what's it? Hey, sis, what's your name? Tanaya. You gotta go? Okay. So Tanaya, come close, come close. What is attire?
The tires that cars.
No. Attire is another word for clothing. So it's an older word. Yeah. Attire. That says a man's attire. Read.
A man's attire and excessive laughter.
If they always joking, like they some impractical joke. Read.
And gait.
And how they move.
Show what he is.
God says you can judge someone by the way they look. Right. The way that they dress, the way that they act. If they think everything's a joke, it's going to tell you something about them.
Right. They get controversy right there. Because you can have a person that dressed very well and be very devilish at the same time.
Now,
because it's many dudes that go out there in luxury suits. Like, let's put it like this. Look at the government. They wear suits. But they don't make the best interest for the people. Why? Because they make an interest for themselves, because they got the money.
I like how you said that. Remember how it says you can tell something by the way a man carries himself. So how do you tell the difference between someone who is godly and actually loves their people versus someone who's just for their own self? How do you tell that difference? Because God said there is a difference you can see. There's a difference you can see, but you gotta know what to look for.
Right. I'm gonna say it like this. You have, you guys, Apostle Paul, prime example. Apostle Paul, it's out of appearance that he was a murderer, which he was. But when God revealed himself to him, his nature changed. Now, but people still see him as the old him, not this person he was.
We're gonna touch on that. Because with Paul, he was murdering the people, but he didn't understand Christ. When he understood Christ, then that's how people was like, we're going to talk on it. We're going to watch this first.
Sirach chapter 37 verse 12. But be continually with a godly man.
God says be continually with a godly man. Here's how you know someone's godly.
Whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord.
To do what?
Keep the commandments of the Lord.
What did God say? Tell us who's a godly man. What would you see about them? They're going to keep what you read in the Bible.
That's right.
Guess what? God says that a man's supposed to have a beard on his face. If your pastor don't got a beard on his face, he ain't got it.
Right.
Hey, you agree with that, Lorenzo?
There was, somebody said there's over 600 some commandments.
Now,
it's not 600.
Now let me ask you. I'm gonna say this.
That's a lie.
That whole 613, that is a Jewish lie.
Yeah.
Right.
Because remember, this whole Bible is the book of the law. Now, let me ask you. Wait. Let me ask you this. Do you keep God's commandments?
Which ones?
Do you keep what's written in the book?
Like I say, which ones?
All of them.
Well, in the New Testament, it says that in the Bible, he said all the commandments are written on these two principles: love God with all your mind, body, and love God with all your mind, body, and soul, and love your neighbor as you love thyself. Okay. These two are written. These two are the full 10. In the full 10.
Okay. We're gonna explain that. Hey, what's your name, Chief?
Wayne.
Wayne. All right. So we got Wayne, Lorenzo, and Tanaya. Okay. Now watch this. Because that's what a lot of people say. These two greatest commandments. Okay, watch this.
Matthew chapter 22, verse 36. Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart.
Now question, how do you love God with all your heart? How do you show God you love him?
By obeying him.
By obeying him. So, okay, Christ says the greatest commandment is you will love the Lord your God, meaning you will obey his commandments, right? Okay, watch this.
And with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Now, what does it mean to love your neighbor as yourself? What does that mean? What do you think it means?
life. You go through life as yourself. You go through life, right? You gonna lie to yourself. You gonna cheat yourself. You gonna even try to kill yourself. But you love yourself and you respect yourself. So you see, with your neighbor, that's how you treat your neighbor as you treat yourself.
Okay. Now, what do you think, Mr. Wayne? Basically same thing as him? Okay. Watch this. We will go to Paul. Paul explained it. Romans chapter 13 and verse 9.
Romans chapter 13, verse 9. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not commit adultery. That's 1 of 10, right?
Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not kill. Read.
Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not covet. And if there be any other commandment.
Now, if there be any other commandment outside of, because what he was saying, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, that's the 10 commandments, right? Now, Paul says if there's any other commandment,
it is briefly comprehended in this saying.
It's briefly comprehended in this one saying right here.
Namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Now, Paul says, if there's any other commandment, I'm going to wrap it up by saying this. Love your neighbor as yourself. So to love God, you have to do what? Obey him, right? So to love your people, what does he have to do? What did Paul say you have to do? He said, if there's any other commandment, it's complicated to say what? Love your neighbor as yourself. Because you'll only keep God's commandments if you love your people and you love your God. Here's proof. Read that. 1 John 5.
1 John chapter 5, verse 2. By this we know that we love the children of God.
The children of God are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are the Israelites according to the Bible.
That's right.
We're God's chosen people. He's only dealing with us. And we can prove that at the Bible. It says it multiple times. But we know that we love our people when we do what?
When we love God and keep his commandments.
Lorenzo, what does it say you do that you show you love your people? What is that you do?
What I do?
No, what did the Bible say?
Love him as I love myself.
Read it again.
Verse 2, by this we know that we love the children of God.
We love our people.
When we love God and keep his commandments.
What is that we do? Keep his commandments. Hold on, let me finish this. Now, let's see how we love God. Read on. Read the next verse.
Verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments.
You show God that you love him and your people that you love them when you keep God's commandments. But read that next part. What does God say about his commandments?
And his commandments are not grievous.
He says, my commandments are not hard. One commandment, a man should have a beard. Is it hard for you to get a beard? No. Another one is, women should wear a dress. Is it hard for you to wear a dress or a skirt? No. But it all boils down to, do you love God? Because there's a lot of people that claim to love God, but they won't keep not one of the commandments in this book. That's why I said, if your pastor don't got a beard on his face, he ain't that guy.
Right, get out. That's where the incarceration starts at. Because you could say that about, he told us not to eat certain fish, or certain animals.
Right.
But we still do.
You're not supposed to.
But we still do. But then it goes on to say he have made everything good. He have made everything good.
Whoa. Where did it say that? Where it say? You gotta show me that. Hey, you believe that? That God gave us a law on what to eat and what not to eat. Then he comes back around and he says, you know what? I changed my mind. Malachi 3:6. He said, I changed my mind. I want to make everything clean now. You can eat. It's a free-for-all. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet. Whatever you want to eat, whatever you see, go for it. But ain't this the same guy that said this? Malachi chapter 3 verse 6. Bring it out. I am the Lord. I change not. I do what? I change not. Hey, tonight, what was it that God just said? God says, listen, I don't switch up. Y'all might switch up, but I don't. I've been the same since the beginning. I'm going to be the same to the end. But y'all will keep my commandments, and that's it.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom. What is the nation? Someone refused to sell drugs.
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.